President, can you just make clear right here, what do you or what did you want President Zelensky to do with regard to Joe and Hunter Biden?
If you look at what he said, okay, and he brought it up. I think he brought up the name Rudy Giuliani. What I want is the following, and I've said this loud and clear. We have our ambassadors here. We have Mike Pence here. Why are we the only ones that give the big money to the Ukraine? We give money to Ukraine, and it's bothered me from day one. And you have plenty of people just here. I say, how come it's always the United States that gets ripped? Frankly, Ukraine, we want to help them. And I do like the new president. You know why I like him? Because he was honest. Because he said there was no pressure at all exerted on me, meaning him, by the President of the United States. He said it. By the way, that one sentence should stop this. But he said there was no pressure exerted. But you don't have to ask him. All you have to do is read the transcript, read the telephone call. But what I was having a problem with are two things. Number one, Ukraine is known before him for tremendous corruption. Tremendous. More than just about any country in the world. In fact, they're rated one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And I don't like giving money to a country that's that corrupt. Number two,
you don't like giving money.
Excuse me. Number two, I said the following, and I said this loud and clear to everybody. And in fact, Rob Portman backed me up, and there's nobody more honorable than Rob Portman of Ohio. Because he called up, please let the money go. I said, Rob, I hate being the country that's always giving money when Ukraine helps Europe and the European countries far more than they help us. They're like a wall between Russia and Europe. They're like a wall. They're a big, wide, beautiful wall. And he said, you know what, but it's important. And in fact, he came out and he said that. That was my only reason. Because I don't like being the sucker country. We were the sucker country for years and years. We're not the sucker country anymore. But I gave the money because Rob Portman and others called me and asked. But I don't like to be the sucker. And European countries are helped far more than we are. And those countries should pay more to help Ukraine.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Trump is on a tear today, guys. He is really ripping into the media, really just giving them the balls to the walls, putting his big old dragon on the table and saying, hey, deal with it. Like, he's really just bringing in the hardcore facts here. And he's right. The UK, Europe, is not really two different countries. I understand that. They're not helping their own countries as much as they should. They're just not. In fact, they're hurting their own citizens, putting citizens in jail, and all that great stuff, and they're not even helping Ukraine as much as they should. And Ukraine's more a part of them than they are part of the U.S., and the U.S. is always getting hosed. We're always getting backstabbed. And Trump is tired of it, and he wants to fix that problem. Now, throughout this video, you're going to see Trump just mostly lambasting and destroying the liberal media and the far left because they are just trying to just really get at him, and it's just not going to work. He's not going to have it. He is on a war path this time. He's taking no prisoners, and as he should. This is how a strong president should be able to deal with, and this is going to be a great change for the country when things like this start happening.
Look, Biden and his son are stone cold crooked, and you know it. His son walks out with millions of dollars. The kid knows nothing. You know it, and so do we. Go ahead, ask a question.
But the question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you, sir.
Listen, you ready? We have the President of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked you, which was,
did you hear
what
me?
did you want
Did you hear me?
Yes,
ask
sir.
him a question.
I will, but
I've given you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude.
No, sir, I don't want to be rude. I just wanted you to have a chance to answer the question that I asked you.
I've answered everything. It's a whole hoax. And you know who's playing into the hoax? People like you and the fake news media that we have in this country. And I say in many cases, the corrupt media, because you're corrupt. Much of the media in this country is not just fake, it's corrupt. And you have some very fine people, too. Great journalists, great reporters. But to a large extent, it's corrupt and it's fake. Ask the President of Finland a question, please.
Okay, I'll move on now. Mr. President, In your opening remarks, you said to President Trump that you had been to some museums today and that you respected the U.S. democracy and encouraged him to continue it. Are you concerned that that's not happening? And my second question to you, sir, is the WTO ruled today in favor of the United States, saying that the United States can now impose tariffs on European goods because of illegal subsidies against Airbus.
That was a big win for the United States, right?
It was.
You never had wins with other presidents, did you? But we're having a lot of wins at the WTO
this was
since
a
I
case
became
that
president.
started, I think, 10 or 15 years ago.
Okay.
But
excuse me. Your wins are now because they think I don't like the WTO and they want to make sure I'm happy. Because all of those countries were ripping off the United States for many years. They know that I'm wise to it. We've had a lot of wins. This was a $7 billion win. Not bad.
But I think the question is for me.
So the question, sir, is if you're concerned that the president will impose those tariffs and the effect that that may have on the economy.
Yes, first of all, when I referred to your democracy, I just wanted to tell that I'm impressed what American people have gained during these decades, hundreds of years, building up a very impressive democracy. So keep it going on. To WTO, I have a lot of respect to multilateralism and to international institutions. So WTO has given now a decision which is, well, quite tough with Europe. But I just say that the WTO has said its opinion, and that's that.
Notice how this person is playing this, right? This one particular person is playing this, right? He's saying, oh, did the Americans actually have democracy correctly, right? Did America really get democracy by voting in Donald Trump? What is this? Like, this is complete stupidity. And of course, the Finland president said, like, well, America's had democracy, a great democracy for 100 years, so keep on going at it. And the WTO, they said is what he said, and that's it. That's the way it's going to go. That was going to be my remark on it. And this is the way that their media is doing it. They're just constantly just wanting to ask Trump questions, and Trump's saying, like, no, we're not doing this anymore. You asked me a question. You're not going to keep on hounding me on this stuff. You're going to ask these other people questions that actually came here and didn't waste their time. So you're going to go ask these people questions, and we're going to move on with the show. It's like, that's the way it is. Yes, he attacked Joe Biden, but of course, Joe Biden is the reason why we're in this situation in the first place. Like, Joe Biden and Hunter Biden have some illegal dealings in Ukraine, in China. It's been proven already. So, yeah, that of course it's not going to be great. And it's really annoying on how the media is just trying to just attack Trump and constantly ask Trump these stupid, dumb questions that are just really just out of the box. And honestly, it really irritates me too. Because when you say, like, oh, did America put in democracy? Did democracy really happen? What do you mean? Trump won the popular vote. Trump won the House. Trump won the Senate overwhelmingly, and he got like 72 million votes from the American people. I don't know what else to tell you. The American people have spoken. There is not any more democracy than this. You're trying to pigeonhole Trump, and you're saying that, trying to pigeonhole and say some other country that they didn't do this so they can play a soundbite on their stupid news network and say, like, oh no, there was no democracy going on with Finland, but Finland didn't do that. So that's what these guys are playing here. And Trump also again responds beautifully to what else they're going to say here. It's really great.
With the president of Finland. He's done a fantastic job, very popular, beloved over in Finland. The WTO has been much better to us since I've been president because they understand they can't get away with what they've been getting away with for so many years, which is ripping off the United States. And please remember the president's last remarks that we are a great democracy. The United States is a great democracy. And I'm airing what I'm airing because we are, in fact, a democracy. And if the press were straight and honest and forthright and tough, we would be a far greater nation. we would be a far greater when we don't have the CNNs of the world who are corrupt people. Thank you very much, everybody.
Trump is just really laying in the groundwork here. He's really just taking no punches, and he's correct. CNN has really just making it worse, and he's letting it the world trade people know. He's letting the world know, and other countries know, on like how corrupt this media is, how corrupt CNN is, how corrupt MSNBC, NBC is. Like, he's putting these media outlets out on blast, and it's not making things great. Like, it's one thing if you're going to go say this stuff, right? And, you know, it's not in front of people. But when you're saying this stuff right out in front of or next to these world leaders and all that stuff, it's a matter of fact of just saying it's a whole new world, because that means these people are either like, oh, this is corrupt, this is corrupt. This man is taking no prisoners. He is going balls to the wall, and he's not going to deal with CNN's and MSNBC's horrible things. Now, Trump is going to respond to what is going on here in MSNBC. Another reporter really just saying that she's been making racist remarks, just not being fair at all in criticism, and it's a beautiful thing to hear. Trump, like I said, Trump is really not taking any flack anymore. It's time to go full fire and brimstone, and he means it.
Invasion, as you know, Mr. President.
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it.
Why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants in
Not
this
at all.
election
No, not
to
at all.
try to keep?
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in, Jim, through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your
You know,
campaign.
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
They're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of
You know
miles
what?
away.
I
That's
think
not an
you
invasion.
should, honestly, you
miles
know what?
away.
I
That's
think
not an
you
invasion.
should, honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much better.
if I may
Okay,
ask
that's
one other
enough.
question, Mr. President. I was going
enough.
to ask one other. The other folks. have
That's
had-
enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
Excuse
President.
me, that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other
Peter,
question,
let's
if
go.
I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
that you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming down?
investigation because it's a hoax.
Are you-
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter, go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts his
Well, I'm
butt
not a
like
big
the rest
fan
of
of
us.
yours either, so
I understand.
to be honest.
So let me ask you a question if I can. You repeatedly said,
You aren't the best.
Mr. President, you repeatedly, over the course
Okay,
of the...
just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President, over the course of the last several days of the campaign, sir, at the end of the campaign, you repeatedly said that Americans need to fear Democrats. You said it would unleash a wave of violent crime that endangers families everywhere. Why are you
Because
pitting
they're very weak on
Americans?
crime.
Why are
Excuse
you
me.
pitting
Excuse me.
Americans
Peter.
against one another, sir?
Peter, what are you trying to be him?
No, I'm
Peter,
just
let me
asking the question.
Let me just tell you. Very simple. Because they're very weak on crime.
Yeah, and it really is going to show how CNN is doing this, right? They constantly keep doing this. They constantly keep on attacking Trump and asking dumb questions or what have you on some of these things that has been going on. And it's like, oh, well, the caravan that's coming here, that's not an invasion. It's from 100 miles away. It doesn't matter if it's 100 miles away. If you have 1,000, 2,000, or 30,000 people, it doesn't matter about people, and it's a lot of people just entering your border without reason, without coming through here, that's an invasion. I like how, it's like, look how they try to change and mix the words, right? They're trying to change it to where, like, oh, well, it's not an invasion because, you know, it's coming from 100 miles away. So, now what is that supposed to mean? You know, countries are usually 500,000 miles away anyways, right? Like, you do realize this. Because even when you cross sometimes through the United States, it could be around 1,000, 2,000 miles. But again, the difference between that is that the state, those people that are traveling from state to state is within our own country. These people are coming from other countries from 1,000 miles away, and they're coming within the thousands. So there's a difference. So yes, it's an invasion. They are trying to mix words here to say like, oh, well, this is not what's going on. This is not an invasion. That's insanity here. And Trump is just laying down the bar and saying like, no, you're fake news. This is BS. This is a caravan. This is not. It is an invasion. It's like, if I'm going to continue being a president, I am the president right now. I'm going to do my job, and you do your job, which is lying and trying to get people riled up. That's what your job is, CNN. And they keep on going on this. Now, Donald Trump is going to be attacked by a racist attack on him, saying, like, the Republican Party and himself are full white supremacists and stuff like that. And it's coming from a black woman. It's not really no surprise that they're doing this, but this is a rebuttal to it.
On the campaign trail, you called yourself a nationalist. Some people saw that as emboldening white nationalists. Now people are also
I don't
saying
know why you'd
that
say
the
that.
president.
That's such a racist
There are
question.
some people that say that now the Republican Party is seen as supporting white nationalists
Oh, I
because
don't
of your
believe
rhetoric.
that. I don't
What do you
believe
make of that?
Let me tell you, it's a racist question.
And Mr. President, I
I
want to
love
ask.
it. You know what the word is? I love our country. I do. You have nationalists, you have globalists. I also love the world. And I don't mind helping the world, but we have to straighten out our country first. We have a lot of problems.
And Miss.
Excuse me, but to say that, what you said is so insulting to me.
Yeah, so as you can tell, the lady is just calling Trump and the Republican Party full of racists, which is interesting considering the fact that, like, how is that possible? You had black people that are voting for Donald Trump. You have Latinos voting for Trump. You have white women voting for Trump. You have all race and creed voting for Trump. And the fact that you're calling the entire party racist or white supremacist is astounding to me. This is the way the media does it. They have to play identity politics. This is all they're going to do. And this is the reason why they collapse, why they're failing. Because they keep on doing identity politics as their crutch and their creed when that's not the reason why. People are tired of it. The American people have spoken. They're tired of this BS. And this is the reason why these media companies need to fail. When Trump fully leaves and gets all this stuff done and we have a culture change, the media will immediately collapse because they all have nobody else to talk to about. This is insanity. And this is the way the media does it. And Trump is handling these people masterclass. He's not dealing with these people anymore. He's being aggressive and angry for a reason because they're not trying to ask important or relative questions. They're just asking things to attack him, his people that are assigned to him, the people that are part of his party, everything, instead of asking actual legitimate questions. Just attacks on Trump and nothing of substance whatsoever. That's just the reality. And that's the disgusting part. So, that's what we're dealing here with, but Trump dealing with very well. He's taking no prisoners, and we're going to probably see a lot more great stuff from Donald Trump in the coming future. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, because it's algorithmic disease, the social media.